Okay, so yesterday, or the end of last week, we talked about and worked out the perimeters around rectangles and other quadrilaterals, or pentagons as well. Okay. Now today we're going to work on basically the perimeter of a circle, which we don't call it a perimeter, we call it a circumference. Okay, the circumference is the distance around the outside of a circle. Okay, so if you're talking about, like if I put a person right here and had them walk all the way around, it would be how long they walk. Okay. Now some things we need to know before we go on. One is the diameter, and the diameter is a line that passes through the center of the circle and both of its endpoints are on the circle. Has to pass through the center. This right here is not a diameter. Here's point F and here's point G. This is called the chord. It's not a diameter. Why is this not a diameter? Can someone tell me? Austin?
Because it doesn't pass through the center.
It's gotta pass through the center. And the center is at a point in which it's equidistant everywhere on the circle. So if I go here or here or here, no matter which direction I go, you're going to have the same distance from the center to the circle. Okay, and then the radius is basically half of the diameter. Okay, it goes from the center out to the end. Now we're going to figure out how are we going to find the diameter. So to find the diameter, D equals, oh no, we're not going to find the diameter. We're going to find the circumference. What was I thinking? C equals pi times D. What do you think this D is?
Diameter.
The diameter, yeah. Pi is the diameter. So in this case, pi is going to be 3.14, and D equals the diameter. I am really not doing a good job of my writing on this one. I turned that R into a T. Okay? Now, we don't have any numbers here, do we? We don't. So what if I did this? I did. Can someone tell me how they would think I would set up to find the circumference of this circle? Sterling.
You would add two radiuses together to get the diameter.
Yeah.
And then you would multiply it.
Yeah, so my C is going to, I have to multiply, or not multiply, add these two together because the diameter is this plus this. 3 and 3 gets me all the way through. So it would be 6 times pi. And what are we going to use for pi? What are we going to use for pi?
3.14.
Yeah, 3.14. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say 3.14 times 6. Okay. So 6 times 2, or 4 is 24. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8. 6 times 1 is 18, and move it over to 18.84 equals my circumference. I didn't put a unit there, so if I was going to say it was inches, I would say it's 18.84 inches. The problem with finding circumferences is you're almost always going to have decimals in them. I'm sorry about that. Okay? But it's true. Okay. Now another way to do it, you're always going to use, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go A, B, C, D, and E. I'm not going to put that extra line in there. That's not a diameter. Does anyone remember what's that called again? It goes from one point on the circle to the other point without going through. Anyone remember what that was called? Think of something you plug in. A chord, yeah, it was a chord. So, my circumference is still going to be pi times my diameter. And let's say I have 4 and 4. But sometimes they're going to say, well, instead of using 3.14, pi is going to equal 22 sevenths. Well, if we divide 22 divided by 7, guess what? It's going to equal that big long decimal. That's pi. Okay, that's why we use it. So in this case, I have 4 and 4. So I know, what's my diameter again? My diameter is what? It's 8, because it has to be from going from C all the way to F. There's 4 and then 4 more. So C equals 8 times pi. But my pi is going to be 22 sevenths. So C equals 8 times 22 over 7. Can we do that? Yeah. We put a 1 under it. And 22 times 8 equals 16, 17. So that equals 176 sevenths. Okay. And then you have to divide. So 7, 176. That equals 2, 14. That's 3 and 6. 7 goes in there 5 times. 5 times 7 is 35. Put my decimal in there. Bring it down 1 time. 7 is 3. Bring down my 0. 7 goes into 30. Can we still see it? Probably not. It's going off. 7 goes in there 4 times. That's 28 and 2. So it's going to keep. It's about 25.14. Okay. That's what my C is going to be. So sometimes they'll ask you to use the decimal. Sometimes they'll ask you to use the fraction. Okay. Now one more thing, because you're going to see a problem like this on your homework. Let's say I have A, B, C, D, and E. And we call this circle A. Okay, so this is circle A, because you always name a circle by its center point. Okay? And let's say that I have, I know that my circumference is 42. But they're going to ask, well, what's the diameter? Do we know how to solve that? And we're going to say that pi is going to be 3.14. Do we know how to solve that? We do. Can someone tell me how? Can someone tell me how to set it up? So we know how to find the circumference, don't we? What is our formula for finding circumference again? Who can tell me what that is? What does C equal? What does C equal? Pi times D. Now, of these three things, circumference, pi, and diameter, which two things do we know? We know two of them. What's one of them? We know the circumference. The circumference is going to be 42. Do we know what pi is? What's pi?
3.14.
And we're going to multiply that by d. Do we know what d is yet? No, because that's what we're trying to find, aren't we? So what do we do now? We have this. What do we do? What are we going to do? You should all know what to do at this point, because we've done equations like this a ton. Yes! Say that louder again. Inverse operation. 3.14 times d. What's the inverse operation of that? Yeah, division. So I have to divide both sides by 3.14 to get that d by itself. So now D is going to equal. So 42 divided by, still see it? 3.14. And what do I have to, what's the first thing I have to do with this?
Move over the decimal.
I got to move over the decimal. And since there's no number, I got to put zeros in here to move over the decimal. I'm going to put it right up here. Boom. So 314, does it go? It goes into 420 one time. So 1 times 314 is 314. That's a 1, that's a 10. So 10 minus 4 is 6. 1 minus 1 is 0, and that's 1. Now I got to bring down this 0 right here. Let me see. I think that probably goes in there 3 times. I'm going to try it times 3 just to make sure. 314 times 3 equals, yep, you can put it in there 3 times. That equals 942. Make that a 5. 10 take away 2 is 8. 5 take away 4 is 1. 10. And I got to put my 0 and bring it down here. And guess what? It's going to go into there 3 more times. And that's going to be 942 again. Make that a 7, a 10, that's an 8, a 3, and a 2. And I'm going to bring another 0, bring it down. I think that, let's see, 3, 1, 4. I'm going to try that 6 times now. Maybe 7 times. Yeah, I'm going to do it 7 times. I'm going to do that 7 times. Boom. And that's it. So basically, when you multiply this down, so 314 times 7, it's going to be 2198. And we know how to subtract 2380 minus 2198. It's going to come out to be 182. So basically, we have this right here. Our diameter is going to be 13.37. Okay? So this is the formula you need to know. We need to know this one right here. If we know this, we can do all these types of problems. And it will tell you if we're going to use 3.14 or 22/7. Right?